topic is really big for us. Today, we're going to talk about ways to process grief and unexpected loss and talk a little bit about our own personal experience and how it's affected us. Like for me, as an adult woman and a mother, and the challenges I've experienced through it and the growth I've had as a person. But I think it'll also be really cool to hear from a teenager talking about how it affected her and her life separately and what she's learned. And we've experienced a lot when it comes to grief. For me, I lost my late husband 2 years ago, and I unfortunately lost him to suicide. And it's just something that it hits you really, really big. You go through a lot of different emotions. And to be honest, I feel like I am still going through so much grief and I'm going through so much healing still. It's a constant battle with yourself of all sorts of different emotions. You're going through sadness, you're going through anger, but then you're also finding and looking for new ways to find hope and joy and love again. And all of it is very, very complex and complicated. And it comes with a lot individually as a woman, but also as a mother. I feel really proud though, because I look at where all of us are now. And I look at where you are and where I'm at, and I feel like we've done a really good job of trying our best to navigate this space. Even if it hasn't been perfect, I think, I look at you guys and like all of you guys are just succeeding and really thriving right now. So it makes me proud as a mom.
Yeah, I think it should, but we would be able to do that without you, supporting us. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how much goes into recovering from such a big loss. Like anyone that dies in your family, like it takes a toll on everyone and affects everyone in different ways. And I think that we've all found a way to just deal with it and persevere. And I saw this thing on TikTok, or I don't even know. I find everything on TikTok. But it was saying that grief is just love persevering. And I feel like that's a good way to look at it. And it changed my perspective. Because at the end of the day, we lost somebody we loved, and we're always going to hold that grief with us and like think about him and then having him here. But we just have to, keep going.
I think the biggest thing is learning to appreciate someone and the light that they brought into our lives. Like, we call him Steven. A lot of you guys I know call him Twitch, but Steven to us was just like, he was just love and light and joy, and he exuded that every single day, and I see that light still in my kids. And so for me, it's just like we want to continue to live our lives that way, but then also learn how to talk about our emotions and make sure that we feel comfortable as a family on the days that we might be feeling really, really sad, or being a little confused and having mixed emotions. Like, I think our household, we really want to make sure that we open up the dialogue and the conversation to be had. And I know me and you obviously talk all the time, but I've also been really proud of my son Maddox, who's 8. He just the other night, like, openly said to me, like, Mom, I'm just really sad. Like, I really miss Dad. And I said, what other emotions are you feeling? And he's like, I feel really confused. And he also used the word surprise. And I think where that came from is that it's just sometimes you're still surprised that this person you love so much and you cherish and you think having all these incredible memories that we had together, you still get shocked even 2 years later that that person that you love so much is still not with you.
Yeah.
And so it's this ongoing battle, but I think the biggest thing that we've learned is how to communicate it with each other.
Yeah. And for sure, you can definitely see that obviously within us, but within the kids too, which is like they do it in their own beautiful way because, they don't understand the extent to which this has impacted us and the extent of which a loss is. But in their own way, they've gotten through it. And as they grow older, it's cool to see how that love evolves and that understanding evolves, because kids are smart too. They obviously know what has happened, like the passing, but they just they don't know how to comprehend it. So it's cool to be able to help them navigate and help them find themselves in that way.
Yeah. But even for you to navigate your own space through it too, what has that been like?
I think it was hard for a long time. Like, it took me a long time to just accept that, I'm never going to get that time back, and I wish that I appreciated it more, but I was there thinking about it like that, and like, you take things for granted, and everyone's gonna say that when someone passes. I think a big thing for me was just accepting it and knowing that it's out of our control, and it has nothing to do with us, and it has everything to do with people struggling with their innermost thoughts. And when suicide happens, there's nothing you can do but feel like there's blame, not on like the person, but just on all the circumstances, everything that goes into having that person into your life. It's like what could we have done? And that's it just sucks with suicide. And so I think I've had to navigate that, but then I don't know, I just feel like it's changed our entire family dynamic. And so I feel like we've all had to overcome that together, which is its own struggle and its own thing.
Well, it's because we've experienced it together as a family, but also individually in very different stages of our lives.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I miss him so much, and I love when we talk about the memories, and I love thinking about his laughter, and I love thinking about the hugs that we used to get from him that were just like, oh, you're the sweetest, and they were the best thing in the entire world. But then there's times it's really hard for me to comprehend the sadness and anger that you feel that he would, maybe miss out on some of these big chapters of your guys' futures. And that makes me really sad sometimes.
Yeah.
But that I know that like he was dealing with so much internally that I have this empathy for him where I hope that he really found that peace with himself.
Yeah.
Because for me, I think the biggest breakthrough I had individually for myself with him, and then also as your eyes as parent watching you guys navigate it, was when I found forgiveness in him and empathy for him and his struggle through it.
Yeah.
That really helped me to find my own healing, because instead of trying to figure out and solve something or try to figure out this big problem or ask all these questions of why, which is really easy to fall in that trap. And I did that for a really long time. It's really, you want to find a solution for someone, or what was the purpose, or what was the reason. And you just start doing circles with yourself. And when I finally found this time to say, I forgive you, I forgive me, I forgive the circumstances, the world, the moment, the whatever, I forgive it, and I like release it off of me. And it made me find this new motivation to keep moving myself, and not just bringing myself forward, but also now finding the strength to carry me and you guys into our next chapter, into our next future. And it's not letting go of what was or forgetting the past or anything like that. It's carrying that story with us, but opening up new doors for us to find ourselves and who we are now. Yeah, and so I'm really, when I look back at that time in our lives, and it was really, really, really hard. With it being so public, that also brought a whole new kind of level and that we had to endure with it, because we no longer just got to grieve behind these walls. We were also being watched by everyone. And there's a lot of judgment that can come with that. There's a lot of curiosity and questions. And I think because a death by suicide, it also brings an element of questions from everyone else of how or why or what was the reason. And so the people like us as well, you start trying to find the answers, and you start trying to solve this big problem that the person isn't here to tell any of us.
Yeah.
So then I think what we also had to deal with inside our own grief was the stories and scenarios created by everyone else. And then now our characters become characters in other people's stories that they created.
Yeah.
Whether we want to be those characters or not, or whether we are those characters or not, we're kind of forced into this bubble of what their thought process is through it. And so now we had to deal with grief and loss of someone that we loved and we missed so much and then we cared for with our own confusion. But now we're having to carry the weight of other people's confusion, other people's questions being thrown on to us, And I think it showed us that we can first off handle a lot. But while you're handling so much, the fact that none of us changed who we are.
Yeah.
We never let it control us. If anything, all we did was get stronger and more aware of what we want to be in our futures and what we contribute to the world and the energy that we want to bring to the table. I think if anything, we just push ourselves to become the strongest versions of ourselves that we could individually and as a family.
Yeah. I think that's one of the hardest parts is trying to navigate your own feelings while also appeasing all the people that are viewing our lives. Because at the end of the day, they're going to assume how you feel and they're going to tell you how they want you to act. And I just feel like both of us in going through this, respond in very different ways. I think I'm more closed off and I get very sheltered, and you're very emotional and open about your feelings. When it comes to social media, that's not something we put out there because it's not for the world. And it gets taken the wrong way.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating because then it's like, although we're put under these circumstances that we had no control over, we're like, in my eyes, sometimes I would get angry because I'd be like, well, if you just chose to stay, we wouldn't have to be putting through all this. Like, we wouldn't get thrown under the bus in a way. And I was like, his act is so selfish, but then I have to like recollect myself and I have to be like, it's not selfish in a way. He was struggling, and I feel selfish now for like thinking like that.
Yeah.
But I also know that it's like there are limitations to that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's kind of a double-edged sword when you think they're just about suicide in general and how you're affecting other people.
Yeah. Well, I think those are really big trigger words that when you say that, a lot of people haven't quite experienced the kind of degree that they feel like you're being mean to the person.
Yeah.
And it's not being mean. These are real actions that you also do have that feeling of like, I feel bad for even thinking that. Yeah, it's hard to not have those emotions, because suicide, it affects everyone around that ecosystem so deeply and differently, and there's already questions everyone has that no other found the answers to. Yeah, so it does feel like it can have this really dark sense to it, that leaves everyone confused and everyone in a spot of feeling really empty from it.
Yeah.
And so I think people get really triggered when you talk about it, because people get really triggered in general when you're really talking about death. But I do think that you have to be careful when talking about suicide and not always just celebrate the person after, because I wouldn't want anyone else to have to go through what we've gone through, but I also would want someone to meet that same choice.
Yeah.
And that doesn't take away from the fact that we loved him and that we appreciate everything he had done for us. But it makes me sad. I wouldn't want anyone to make the same choice. Because it is such a permanent choice to be had, where if he could have just pushed you one day, or maybe called a call center or called a friend or called someone for help, then we'd be in a very different circumstance right now. Because I know talking to Maddox, and Zaya's a little bit younger, so her experience, I think we're going to have to talk about in the future more with her, like the kinds of questions that she's going to have. But I think sometimes people from the outskirts don't realize when you, like for me, like losing my husband, it's like, I don't have that partner to make those daily decisions with.
Yeah.
I was with him for 13 years. I met him when I was 22 years old. He was my partner. And, we would wake up together. We'd have our coffee together. We'd take you kids to school every single day. We would pick you guys up from school. We make decisions of what school the kids would go to. We make decisions on what jobs we were going to accept. We were working together actively. We would decide on what color sheets we want to have, and so you're talking about daily life. This isn't just like on a Friday I think about him. It's like my daily actions, every single choice, the kind of toothpaste I would pick would be a decision that we had made together. Yeah. And so it's like our daily choices were affected. When I think of your future, like when you decide to get married, if you decide to get married, if Maddox decides to have kids one day, picking colleges right now, like these are things that he would have been part of with us. And I sometimes think that people, who loved him and idolized him, I want that to stay the same. We want that to stay the same. We still see him as that same person. But there's this part of us, I think, that gets misunderstood because we have to deal with the daily thoughts of, like when I go to drink, my favorite drink, that's what we drank together. Or, we used to every single day sit at that table, or, where I go drop off my laundry even to get dry cleaning done. Like that's where we had picked, and so it's like these daily life things that we are missing from that make us sad and have a different kind of energy towards other people in the general public that you don't sometimes understand or relate with, why there's so many more complexities.
I think even though we have way more complicated emotions because of it, people can still feel way over the internet. But what they won't ever understand is the pressure and the responsibilities that have been left because of it onto you, especially. But then even like me feeling like I have to care for my siblings when it's like they should have a parent there to do that for them. And like, yeah, we have you and you pick up all the pieces and you do your due diligence fully. But it's just like I was at Maddox's basketball game and it was just me and him, and I just sat in the corner. I watched all the other dads and I just started crying. And it's like nothing's compelling me to cry besides the fact that he should have somebody there, but they made the choice not to be.
Yeah.
And for me, like, Steve stepped into my life when I was like 1, right? Because he was with you when I was like, I mean, we were both young at that point. So, it's like we moved to California. He predominantly raised me because my dad lives in Utah. So it's just like for him to step into that role of a father and do that for 15, 14 years of my life, and then just like one day back out, it was like, well, you did that to me, but you also did that to your kids too. Like, I'm your kid.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I've always thought to experience you and I'm always going to remember you, but your kids, like, they're only able to live through like us. They're only have memories of him through us and us reminding them and us constantly like giving, like sending his love to them through us.
Yeah.
So that's always gonna be hard, but
it's, do you ever feel, we've had talks about this before. Do you sometimes feel because you're older and you got to experience more with him, does it ever make you feel almost this guilt for the other kids?
yeah,
It's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
shed a tear, I'll be bad. I'm like, I can't. It must not. Anyways, but I think just when my students grow up, I don't want them to be like I'm not biologically related to him. I don't want them to be like, well, we're his kids and we didn't get to experience him, and like why he wouldn't be there for you for so long, but not for us. But like, my experience that they grew up and they end up resenting not only him but like us or experiencing it, which like I don't want that to happen at all. And so I just feel like I'd rather put my feelings aside for that, which I like. I don't know enough. Like, don't get me wrong, I really don't. But they're younger, so it's like,
Well, what they get to have us. They get to have you as their big sister. And you're so aware of these feelings, but I don't want you to ever harp on that and live from that. You're going to be such amazing simple to do. You already are. No, and you're going to share these stories. They are not going to resent you. They're going to wish that they had those kinds of moments with them, but they're going to love that you're teaching them and you're loving them on that same way. You're presenting that same energy that he would have had onto them.
okay, wrong. It's like, I know they're always going to love me and I'm always going to be in their lives and with them and do every step, right? But it's also like, I know what it's to not have that father figure, especially now. But I had like a dad that I wasn't around as often and I wish I could have been. So it's like, to, like the small scale compared to what they're going to experience on a big scale already, it's like, I'm already hurt for them and they don't even know the gravity of it. And so it's just, I got 2 chances of having a father figure me in my life, and they're never gonna be able to experience that, which sucks unless they find a role model along the way. But it's like, I think mostly around us it's girls right now, so I know Maddox just wishes that there was someone that he could look up to that's just not always talking about makeup. We try to learn about basketball. We try to be in the know with him, but it's hard, and it's like, I just wish he had that.
But it's also, it's you wish he had that, but there will always be that yearning that it was, is. And I think that's the complexities that as the big sister and as the mom, that is the thing that I will always think about. And it's big, this big permanent decision that was made.
Yeah.
But I do know that, like, with surrounding Maddox and Isaiah with love, they feel it, and making sure that they're willing to talk about their emotions through it, coming to us when they're having those moments of lows. And we'll make sure that we do have those great examples around. And there's so many people opening up their arms around them and, like, making sure that they're there for him. And we've had so many incredible people step into our lives to play that role. And I think that Maddox, like, he just yearns for it so much, and he appreciates it. But we will always be battling those kinds of questions, as they're getting older, as they're growing up. You will still always battle, but I will still always battle that, And I think for me as a mother, my biggest want for them and for you is to make sure that you never feel like this decision was ever the fault or anything that had been controlled by a decision that you made of any sort. And for Maddox or Zaya to think that they had anything to do with that, and just knowing that this part of our life, it is not the defining moment of who we are, because we are still here. We still get to have such a beautiful life, celebrating even a part of our lives, but then also moving forward in our lives, that it's closing that chapter while still celebrating it, but also it's the way we walk through it that determines walking into the next chapter that will change everything for Maddox and Zaya. Like, how do we see this? How do we move through it? How do we create healthy habits within each other? And how we communicate? How do they create their own healthy habits as they're getting older to navigate this space when they are having a hard day through it? When Maddox is at basketball and he's seeing these other dads there and he starts missing his dad, like, is he going to talk to someone about it? Is he going to talk to his therapist about it? Is he going to, stick through with basketball and celebrate his dad? As he, there's all these things that he has to navigate as he gets older. But as long as we teach healthy tools, and that for me, it's teaching him to find ways of keeping himself healthy every way. That, it's not saying that it's bad to have that anger or sadness or those moments of it's how are you going to get yourself through? And you get to be the writer of your own story. Right? A lot of people look in at our story and they want to write it for us in a way that makes them feel safe.
Yeah.
And then feel comfortable. Right? Because I would loved him so much. I would love us as a family so much. So they want to tell us how to act. It still kind of reminds them of that and makes them feel safe. When really we have to remember that even if it hurts other people's feelings, you have to write your next chapter. I have to write my next chapter. Maddox and Zaya they're going to grow into their own individual humans with their own thoughts, their own energy, their own actions, and stand tall in it. Celebrate the life that we had as a family at Walmart. But now stepping into the who they are now in the future is determined on your daily acts, your daily habits, the way you handle situations. And we had to walk through such a hard one that's going to build our characters to be stronger people in our next chapter. And so for me, it's what I love for you is not to carry this weight of how to, handle Maddox and Zaya's emotions, but just be the example of you stepping into who Weslie is now. Yeah. And for me, do the same thing.
Yeah. And I know that we do a lot for them, but I just think that what I was trying to say is if there's like the fatherly role that we're never going to be able to fulfill, that I'm going to always wish that they were able to experience that and have those moments. But through their growing up and through us going through all this, I think it's already shaped us as such strong individuals to the point where I'm like, everything that happens in my life is so insignificant. Like, if people just can't hurt my feelings at this point. And I mean, obviously social media plays a factor, and I think it's literally insane that if we don't post crying every day, then it's like, oh, they never care. But if we do post crying, it's like, these are fake tears. You're like, you should grieve in private. It's like, you never win.
Yeah.
You never win in any situation with social media, but especially suicide, because I think it's such unnavigated territory in general, because people don't like to talk about it because it is a hard conversation, and it is an ugly conversation too.
Do you sometimes struggle with your diet? You diet, you lose weight, but then you gain it all back again just time and time again? Well, that can be dangerous. And studies show that it can also increase your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and type 2 diabetes and other health problems. So breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is a main reason doctors have created Lean. Lean is a supplement, not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. Now, the science behind Lean is super impressive. It studies natural ingredients that target weight loss in 3 very powerful ways. It helps to maintain healthy blood sugar, it helps control appetite and cravings, and it also helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. Listen, if you're tired of losing weight and gaining it back time and time again, and you want to lose weight in a meaningful way at a healthy pace, Lean was created for you. Let me get you started with 20% off when you enter Between Us 20 at takelean.com. That code again is Between Us 20 at takelean.com.
It's the damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
You know, but it is, I think, especially with what you're saying with social media, it's been really tricky to navigate. I know for me personally, just because people want me to make each of them feel safe through it. But I can't hold that responsibility for each individual that follows us or follow us at that time or is getting to know me now.
Yeah.
Because it's impossible to do it in the perfect way for each individual. So all I can do is navigate my life in the best way I know how and what I see fit for you guys and for myself. And that is just, now what I'm learning is just, you're not going to be able to appease every single person. And I do think that not just for me, but I also do think for Steven, something that in my past I was trying to do, something I know he was trying to do, is we're always trying to be people pleasers and make everyone so happy. But sometimes what I've learned is, if everyone likes you and if everyone just is perfect with you and you use it, you're not really truly being honest with all of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And so what I'm coming to terms with now as an adult after this grief is understanding that as I'm stepping into my truth, my most authentic self, and some people aren't going to agree with that. And how I'm acting and how I'm, speaking from my experience and the way I'm making choices or whatever it is I'm doing, not everyone's going to agree with that. I'm finally at 37 in my life learning that that's okay. But there are some people that are just not going to like the actions and the choices they make, and that's okay. They might see me as a villain. That doesn't make me an actual villain. But if they need me to be a villain in their story,
Yeah.
then that's okay. I don't wish that. I don't want to be that villain. But if that's the choice they made for me, it's not my job to try to convince them differently. All I can do is be my most authentic self. And I know I'm not that. It's like in real life, like I know I'm not a bad person. Even I'm not, negative things. I'm not trying to wish ill on anyone. Just trying to live life to my purpose and my fulfillment and be my best version of myself every single day. And as long as I'm doing that, I'm not actually hurting someone. But suicide kind of creates all these different webs for people, and they start kind of creating their own theories and everything. And I just learned that whatever they have created for me is out of my control.
Yeah.
And that there is some sort of power when you kind of let go of letting people control your story for you, and you just start owning your own story and being that writer.
I think that's territory for you, because I'm glad you can say that now, but it's been difficult to watch you overcome being such a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Because it's you, I don't want to speak for you, but I can say that you've struggled with it, and it is other people's opinions have impacted you greatly. And I think through my influence and just some conversation, I just think my not caringness, we talk about it, it's like you've been able to set up those boundaries that are necessary, and you've been able to, it just doesn't matter. Other people's opinions don't matter. I feel like being a people pleaser, you always feel the need to care for other people and tend to other people's feelings, when it's you're putting aside yours before that.
Yeah.
And so to see you tear yourself down for people that shouldn't even be relevant. It was like hurtful. So it's like, it's a big step for you to be able to say now that you have been doing that and you have been able to just like kind of strive in your own life.
It was a huge show for me. You were like literally on my side witnessing it. Like I was so hurt by people close to me, strangers, people I didn't know. I was so obviously hurt by the person I loved, the most in the world, that I was so deeply affected and questioned everything about who I was and was I good enough and what was I doing wrong. I was really, really difficult on myself just because I think till that really hard point in my life, for the most part, I knew my purpose was to bring love and joy to the world. And I had been working on that and doing that for so long that having it flipped upside down for me, not by my own choice, but by someone else's, I think was really hard to accept. And then having all these different things kind of happening, it felt to me, I didn't really know how to handle it at first. And I was just really sad and, and down on myself and blaming myself and trying to help everyone else before we would try to help myself. And I was like, right after everything happened 2 years ago, I wanted to fix it for everyone. And it was starting to almost kill me too, trying to help you, make sure you were okay, help Maddox and Zaya, help my family, help his family, help friends, help strangers, navigate social media, and I just wanted to help everyone and make it better and right for everyone while not giving myself a chance to even heal and breathe. And then that's really when I had to take some time for myself to sit back and be like, wait a minute. For me to be the best version of myself, I have to find out who I am now. And I have to stand tall and I have to heal and I need some time. And it's okay for me to feel my own thing in order to be able to, what essentially want to do is feel other people's. But then it's also not my responsibility to be at one's healer. And that was something I really learned. And that's when I first started to put boundaries up, which a lot of people found to be very confusing. And a lot of people found themselves not liking it as I put up boundaries. But it's been the best thing for me because I needed to learn how to heal myself to be struggle for you and the two littles. Because that first and foremost as a mommy is my first responsibility. And now that I've done that, then I can start opening the gate to friends, family, co-workers, social media. I've now been able to open that gate back up to other people, but I really had to heal myself first. And so I have grown a lot in that element, but then also grown from not allowing the influence of other people wanting to pull from me and also telling me the way I should be doing it. And I learned to put up that wall to protect myself. And now I think that's why, not just for me, but our kids, like that's why we've gotten to the place we are.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really proud that we've had those conversations, but the littles just seen us having these conversations and the growth that we've had, and I think moving forward, I know how to navigate this a lot more. And to be honest, I feel like I'm the best version of myself now. And I think you are too. I think we've grown, we've found strength in each other, but also in ourselves. We've experienced something that is just really, it's really wild. And I feel like through this, I don't feel like it can really be crushed or hurt. Because at the lowest moment of my life, which I always say that was the lowest I've ever felt in my life, I'm still here. 2 years later, I feel like I'm a stronger version of who I was and who I am. I know how to navigate situations, and I don't have anything that I feel has rocked me so hard that I'm not still a good person. I'm so proud of my decisions and how I've handled this, how I've navigated it, how I have handled myself and how I'm parented through it. Have I had lows? I've had huge lows. And you, unfortunately, would be like the person at my side holding me up at those moments. But even with those lows, I'm proud of who I am now. Man, nothing can rock me because at my lowest, I was still a good person. And I'm still a good person. I'm still making good choices and the right choices for us. And I'm really proud of that. But I really know that I can stand tall and say that I've done nothing but try to make the best decisions for myself to be kids and come out the other side of this and learn from it and grow from it. I also was like really proud of our kids and the way we navigated it. And I hope other people see it. I know sometimes there's other opinions, but I hope at one point they see that you guys are happy. And I'm happy now. And I think that's an interesting part of proof. I think there's a lot of people that are confused when they see us happy. Oh, she's so happy so soon. You are so happy so soon. Look at them celebrate. Look at them out with friends. Like, they must not have grieved. They must not be grieving. But I would be so happy to see some of us experience such a loss or such a deep thing or experience so much grief. I want to see them on the other side. I want to see them happy and enjoying days and laughing again and experiencing the beautiful parts of life and finding love again and finding those pockets of life just like to celebrate. You know, for me, I think that's the thing I'm the most proud of is even through grief, I see life as being the gift. And I'm so grateful every single day to be here. And I don't regret anything. I think that life is just to be lived and experienced it, you know, the experience, like the highs and the lows of it. Like every single day I wake up and I see the trees, I feel the wind on my face, and I could cry just thinking about the wind hitting my face. And I know that's such a rare thing, but I know, I'm an emotional person. But I really do and romanticize on life. It's beautiful. I want to find all the different loves and joys I can experience, and I want to see the world still, and I want you guys to still see the world. I want to see you off to college. I want to see you guys get married. I want to be a grandmother. Like, all these things about life still excite me, and I think that's so important. And I hope one day other people looking in at our lives, or even for themselves, going through their own lows, realize that even in a low, life is perfect and it's a gift and it's beautiful, and we're so lucky to be able to experience it.
Yeah. I think in general, this just don't let something define you. And I'm not going to let a choice that wasn't mine control all my actions, everything I do, the people that I meet, the people I hang out with. I don't want that to be the first most thought in everything I do. And don't get me wrong, I think about it every day.
Yeah.
When I am having those interactions, when I am doing things, but it's not like a switch. It's not like I'm just gonna be sad and start bawling on the spot because I'm thinking about him. It's more just like, it's an eerie feeling.
Yeah.
And it's not even explainable. It's just, it's always there. But I'm not going to just give my attention all to that. Yeah. Because I have more important things to do. And things that I want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And just like moving forward, I don't want to just be stuck on something that doesn't characterize all of my life.
Yes. And it shouldn't because it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, because like anything, it's one decision made by some other individual. You still get to make your own decisions every single day moving forward. You know, it's kind of that thing like I know you've experienced, or I actually experienced it today. I had someone come up to me that I didn't know, and it was meant from love. But the way they haven't seen me since our loss that we experienced, and I know you're going to feel this deeply. When I was approached by my friend, immediately it was like, how are you okay? And it's from a place of support and love and sadness for us and what we've experienced.
Yeah.
But we're not necessarily there all the time, especially 2 years later. But there are times we will be there. Just approach me as a human being. And if I'm having low, that would be on me to tell you.
Yeah.
You know, or if I want to talk about it, I'll talk to you about it. Or if I'm just having a good day, just having a good day. Yeah. But I think sometimes with as loud as the grief was that we experienced with people, they think that we're living our lives from that. And so sometimes the energy is kind of put onto us, which I understand, unfortunately, but sometimes that can also bring you back to it when you're like, I don't want to be there today. I've got other things to do. Like, I got to go to the grocery store. I pick the kids up from school. I got to go here. And it's not out of an act of trying to play down in a negative way. They're trying to be sensitive. But sometimes I just wish people understood that what you're saying is it's okay to just approach us be with anyone else. It's just another day for us that yes, we might be trying to get by, but sometimes I don't want to talk about the grief. Sometimes I just want to be like, you know what? Today is a good day. I'm going to go work out and then I'm going to work and then go home.
Yeah. I think also just bringing up emotional conversations when it's just like, there's a time and a place.
Yeah.
And I just feel like casual interactions, meeting up and greeting each other, that's just not the first thing I want to hear, because I might just be in a great mood and it's gonna immediately take me back.
Yeah.
And that's just not what you want when it's like, I'm just supposed to be catching up.
Yeah. And also, I think it's also, I know for both of us, we talked, about it's a choice. It is a choice to wake up every single morning. It's a choice to decide on that morning, today is going to be a great day. And I'm a huge affirmations person and I'm a huge manifester of today is going to be a great day. So if I've taken all this time and all this work to have my morning coffee, to be like, today is a wonderful day. And then someone to approach me and try to bring me to that point, it might not be the moment, even if I understand they might want to talk about it. But for me, it's we make choices every single day to keep moving forward. And that's the energy I want for all of us, is we keep moving forward. We keep making decisions. We might have a low through it, but we might have a great day where we just get to laugh and celebrate and, get you ready for the next chapter of your life, And so I think it's just really important that, that is heard by other people. And even through social media, I have noticed that, if we're not posting about the grief, it's sometimes, affecting other people. But it's we're moving forward and we have new parts of our life that we're excited about. We have a new podcast that we're excited about, obviously, and I think I want other people to find that. How do you think this experience has bonded us?
I mean, I think we're closer than ever before. I mean, there were months that we were just together every day trying to get by.
Yeah. And so we were in survival mode. And some days we still are, but we were in survival mode for a very, very long time together.
It was like another COVID lockdown for us, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think, that too, you're all in a house every day for a couple years, and then that just COVID ended, and then it basically happened again.
Yeah.
So for us, I just think we had a lot of time and a lot of things to navigate and communicate about, that it's we would have never even gone in that deep before.
Yeah.
So I just think it spoke volume to how knowledgeable we are and how persevering we are and how most emotionally capable people we are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people would still be at the point that we felt like we were going to be stuck at first.
Yeah. For me, it was really important to get out of staying in such a low. So for me, that's why we went to lockdown. We had so much paparazzi outside of our house. We were really changing schools. So much was going on. There was so much noise that together as a family, we was you know what? Let's experience this hurt, this pain, all the different complexities, all the different emotions. Let's do it together, support each other, feel it hard and not be scared to feel it. And so at any moment, there would be tears, there'd be laughter, there'd be this, there'd be all sorts of different emotions, but we all were feeling it and expressing it together. And I'm proud because we had to go through, with grief, you go through different stages. You go through the anger, the sadness, the pain, the hurt, the joy, that you go through different steps of it. And we went through all of it and then found our way through it and out of it. And we'll go through it. It's just always going to be this tunnel vision of circles and circles always the rest of our lives. But now we know we can.
Yeah.
We went through it big so we could get out of it quicker.
Yeah. I think the biggest lesson I had to learn, even though I am such an avoidant person, but is to not ignore those feelings. And I think when everything happened, we literally just immersed ourselves into it.
Yeah.
Which I think was beneficial in a way, because we got to feel those feelings in such a big load all at once. It was there was no way to just put aside anything and not go through those emotions. And so we felt it early on. We just jam-packed our grieving process because we did want to move on. And I think for us, the way that we move, I think that was healthy. I don't know if a lot of other people would be able to do that, but we were like, we had things to do. We're going to feel all these,
We went hard. We just put ourselves, like, it happened, and then we put ourselves at the heart of it to figure it out. Like, feel it, figure it out. Like, for me, but not even just mentally. Like, you know me, like, another way of me getting through that grief was, like, physical components. I was working out every day. I was sitting in the sauna. I was getting in the cold plunge. I was at night just looking at the stars and crying every night and endlessly like going through all the questions and contemplations and feelings. But like for me, it was like, I have to get to the other side. I was also the biggest taskmaster. You know, I'm like a to-do list girly that like every single day and all day long, I was like, I got to get through all this to get to the other side. Because I know even with another thing with grief, a lot of people don't understand is there's a lot you have to take care of. There's a lot you have to so like.
you should never have to deal with all that right after somebody passes. The amount of paperwork and just
Contract, like
what you'll have time to just sit and just
grief. Wow. No, there was so much for me to navigate, but in a lot of ways, you know, my personality, in a lot of ways that helped me grieve too. Because I would just, again, go through all the different emotions of each task of, why do I have to do this? What am I doing this for? This is so confusing. I don't know how to do this. And so all those steps I had to go through also were part of my healing. But again, I was like, I don't want to be taking care of this 3 years down the line. I was like, so for me, I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to be so tired every single day. But I'd rather be tired and emotional and get through it so I can see my path and get to the other side, you know? And I did. I always saw that. I was like, we will be fine. There was never a doubt in my mind I'd be fine and us as a family would be fine. Like I knew we'd be okay. It was just going to take some time. But I think for me, moving forward, I just think if I could give anyone advice in their life, it would be to not be scared to ask for help. Or be honest about the lows you're having, or, you know, if you have something that's really harping on your back, like talk to someone about it, take that load off. But also remember, the stronger decision is going to be to wake up tomorrow. That is going to be so beneficial to the world and to yourself and all those people that love and care for you around you. Every single person you've ever conversed with is going to be touched so deeply by you making that decision to keep going and to keep moving forward. I also wanted to say that we've been so fortunate to be partners with an incredible organization named NAMI. They are a great resource to people if you are having questions in your life, if you're confused, if you have been questioning, potentially, you know, falling into a situation with yourself wanting and questioning suicide. There are hotlines that you can call. So we're going to put that on the screen, put it in the caption so you guys can make sure that you call for help, call these numbers, use NAMI as a resource. You can find therapists through them. You can find support through them. Groups of people that are also experiencing and going through so much, they can really be a source to help you. So make sure that you understand and see for yourself that you can really get the help that you need and or help someone else get that they need. If you are finding that you are struggling with grief and or your mental health, please call the NAMI hotline, 1-800-950-NAMI-6264, or email them at helpline@nami.org. They can just be a source to help you guys and support you and see you through to the other side and make you feel seen and heard and know that you deserve so much love in the world. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and leave a comment below about your own personal experience with loss and grief. And hopefully this is a way that can help you see it forward, but also just feel seen through all the different complexities through it. You know, with grief and with loss, sometimes we only want to talk about the beautiful memories, but sometimes it's okay to talk about the dark side of it and understand that it's okay to be seen and heard and feel all the big feelings.
This podcast has been brought to you by Podcast Nation.